Get the screen back on. The LCD cable. Now it's time to get the screws in on the bottom. Now we're going to feed that wireless antenna back through the hole. Now reattach the keyboard, mount the keyboard, snap it in, make sure that's screwed in properly. Attach any screws that we missed. Now we're going to install the hard drives. Put the cover back on, screw that on, make sure everything is flush. Install the RAM, install the wireless card, screw it down and attach the antenna. Put that hinge cover plate back on. Put the battery back in. Now we're back to normal speed. I'm going to attach the AC adapter, power this on, see what happens. Now I actually want to try it with the battery out, just to make sure it's getting the pure AC power and it's not the battery that's powering the machine. And it's lighting up, it's powering on, everything looks okay. So we still have to get that keyboard, waiting for that keyboard to come in. We did order it, but in the meantime, if you want to use this machine and some of the keys aren't working, you can use an external keyboard through USB. This is a $10 USB external keyboard I got at Micro Center, real small mini one. Very cheaply built, but very handy. Now just be aware when you do USB keyboards that sometimes the drivers have to be loaded before they work. In this case it worked right away, so we're okay with that. But now, I consider this computer done except for the keyboard replacement. We're confident there's no corrosion on the motherboard, nothing is fried, nothing's going to go bad, everything looks clean, so it's good that we did that test. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks again. Okay, we're going to replace the back screen cover on a Dell Inspiron 1521. First thing I'm going to do, which I actually already did before I started the tape, and I'm just demonstrating here, taking a little mini screwdriver and I'm prying out the little rubber pieces that are hiding the screws, and that's how you get to get the screen open. Take off those little rubber nubs, and that'll open up the screws for you to unscrew, and then the whole front bezel will come off. Now I like to keep the screws, as I'm taking them out here, keep them in the same pattern so I know exactly where they go when I put them back, because underneath those rubber nubs that are over the screws, there's glue, and sometimes that glue comes off more on one piece of rubber than another piece of rubber when you're removing them, and if you put them all back in different spots, it's going to be uneven and some might not stick as well. So I like to keep the rubber pieces and the screws going in the same hole as I took them out of. Once you get the screws out, try to find a spot where you could pry the front part of the screen off, the front bezel there, the plastic piece. And once you have one, just kind of follow it around with your fingernail or a piece of plastic or something. Try not to scratch the screen if you're grabbing it from the inside. And once you're sure all the screws are out, you might have to give it a little force to get some of the corners up, but you'll be able to do it if you just mess with it enough and you just keep jiggling it around. I'm actually going to take the hinge cover plate off and see if there's anything under that hinge cover plate that's holding this front panel on. See if it'll make it any easier for us. And just kind of keep inching around, and eventually, if you pull in the right way, it'll come off. Sometimes there's a little bit of glue or tape, sticky tape, under the front bezel of the screen that's holding it to the screen. So on older laptops you're going to find that. Newer laptops not as much, but there's one just piece here that's just sticking us up. Just going to keep jiggling and eventually it'll come out. Grab it from the bottom, grab it from the top.